Welcome back, my fellow horror fans. There are haunted hotels. And then there's the Stanley Hotel. This place is the stuff of nightmares, literally. Not only did it inspire Stephen King to write The Shining, one of the most terrifying novels ever written, but it's also a hotspot for real life ghost sightings and unexplained paranormal activity. Today, we're diving headfirst into the haunting history of the Stanley Hotel. So if you're into ghost stories, paranormal encounters, and all things eerie, grab a seat, turn off the lights, and prepare to be creeped out. Alright, let's set the stage. The Stanley Hotel is located in Estes Park, Colorado, right at the gateway to the majestic Rocky Mountains. On the outside, it looks like an old grand hotel, a beautiful historic building. But trust me, this place is far from just a pretty backdrop. The hauntings here go way back, and there are so many spine-tingling stories that have made this hotel a paranormal legend. Let's start with the history. The Stanley Hotel was built in 1909 by freelance Oscar Stanley, a man who was best known for co-founding the Stanley Motor Carriage Company. He and his wife Flora moved to the Rocky Mountains to recover from his tuberculosis. And the pure mountain air did wonders for his health. So he decided to build a luxury hotel in the area, which soon became a popular getaway for wealthy vacationers. But what the guests didn't know back then, and what many visitors still don't realize, is that from almost the very beginning, strange things started happening. The Stanley may have been grand, but it had some, let's say, uninvited guests. So what makes the Stanley Hotel so haunted? For starters, the spirit of freelance Oscar Stanley himself is said to roam the halls, watching over the hotel he built. Guests and staff alike have reported seeing his ghost near the lobby. And some claim they've even seen him checking in on the hotel operations, making sure everything is in order. Imagine booking a room and bumping into the hotel's original owner, except he's been dead for over 70 years. Then there's Flora, freelance's wife. She was a talented pianist, and legend has it that her ghost can still be heard playing the piano in the hotel's music room. Late at night, guests have reported hearing soft, beautiful music drifting through the halls, only to find the room completely empty when they go to investigate. Just imagine walking by the music room, hearing a haunting melody, only to find an empty bench and a piano playing itself. But let's talk about one of the most infamous rooms at the Stanley Room 217. This is the room where Stephen King himself stayed in 1974, and it's where he got the inspiration to write The Shining. King and his wife were the only guests staying at the hotel that night, and the isolation was palpable. According to King, he had a nightmare so vivid and terrifying that it jolted him out of bed. In his dream, his young son was running through the halls, screaming as he was chased by a fire hose. King woke up in a cold sweat, went outside to smoke a cigarette. And by the time he went back inside, he had the entire framework for The Shining in his head. Since then, room 217 has become a hotspot for paranormal activity. Guests who stayed there report strange occurrences, objects moving on their own, lights flickering, and the feeling of being watched. Some even claim to have seen the ghost of Elizabeth Wilson, a former housekeeper, still lingering in the room. She was involved in an explosion in that very room in 1911, but survived only to pass away years later. People say she's still looking after the guests, tidying up rooms or unpacking luggage. But here's the kicker. She doesn't seem to like unmarried couples sharing the room, and guests have reported that their bags were mysteriously packed or clothes neatly folded when they wake up. And it doesn't stop there. The fourth floor of the Stanley is another hotspot for paranormal activity, especially around room 401. This area was once used as servant quarters, and today, visitors report hearing children laughing and running through the halls, except there are no children around. And in room 401, some guests have claimed to feel an invisible presence sitting on the bed or touching them while they sleep. Not exactly the peaceful night's rest you're hoping for, right? The hotel fully embraces its haunted reputation, offering nightly ghost tours for those brave enough to explore the creepiest parts of the property. The basement is another area people claim to experience chills, both literally and figuratively. Staff have reported cold spots, strange noises, and even shadowy figures lurking in the corners. The Grand Ballroom is another eerie spot in the hotel. Guests have reported seeing ghostly figures dressed in old-fashioned clothing dancing to music that no one can hear. Some have even spotted a man standing at the bar, only to have him disappear when they get closer. Is it just the hotel's ambience playing tricks on their minds, or is there something more sinister lingering in the shadows? So, whether you believe in ghosts or not, there's no denying that the Stanley Hotel has something otherworldly about it. The history, the hauntings, the very atmosphere of the place. It's enough to give anyone the chills. And with so many stories from both staff and guests, it's hard to ignore the possibility that the Stanley Hotel is one of the most haunted places in America. So, what do you think? Would you spend the night at the Stanley? Have you had your own paranormal experience there? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you love diving into the world of haunted places and terrifying tales. Until next time, keep your lights on and stay scared.